The Red Duke in his previous life was a honored knight of the Lady and a Duke of Aquitaine. He fought overseas with his king on the shores of Araby until he was betrayed by his own knights. These were knights who wanted his duchy, his dukedom, and so they plotted with the same Arabians they had their crusade against. Every single assassin sent against him was cut down, though he finally fell to a poison-laced wound. Nearby, Abharash the Blood Dragon, the founder of that lineage of vampires, would see him in combat and would give him the blood kiss. Many years have since passed, but he is now ready to begin his unholy crusade to right the wrongs, to get revenge against those who took from him. Now we witness the rise of the Scourge of Bretonnia. Now we get to begin our campaign in earnest. Before we continue on and conquer nearby lands, let's look at factional effects for Mousillon. The City of the Damned. Mousillon is the smallest, poorest, and most cursed of the dukedoms of Bretonnia. The city of Mousillon stands near the mouth of the river Grismery, surrounded by swamps. It seems to be slowly crumbling back into the swamp, but somehow it still survives. Our first benefit enables lance formation for Black Knights, Blood Knights, and Damned Knights too. Our White Kings are 30% cheaper for all provinces, and we get a recruitment rank of +2 for all Blood Knight units. Not bad. And of course we get our traditional benefits whenever vampiric corruption goes up in a province for public order. But now, we are ready to move on. We have the Red Duke. We begin with a group of Graveguard, a very elite melee unit for us. Crypt Ghouls, which are lightly armored, and they can do a lot of damage to units like Peasants or flanking other lightly armored infantry units. We have our Men-at-Arms, and keep in mind, these are living units too. So we have undead and living units that we can use together. We're going to be able to outplay our foes quite a bit. And we have Peasant Bowmen over here that have Pox Arrows, which will provide a poisoning debuff to our foes. And finally, we've got Blood Knights. These guys here alone will destroy many knightly orders. Black Knights are pretty good, but nothing in comparison to our Blood Knights. I mean, they have a weapon strength of 70. And there's a Field Trebuchet. So, let's bring up our undead units. We can use Raised Dead. We'll take Skeleton Spearmen and Warriors. And I'll take a group of zombies too. For what money I do have, we can spend 4,000 on a Murky Harbor. I would like to be able to make some more dark magic right away. I say money, but it's a currency either way. For technology, out of any of these, which I've already looked at, the City of the Damned is quite important. But more importantly, why don't we reduce our attrition rate? We can reduce it by 20% over here if we research the Liber Necronomica, a text of powerful binding in one of the 9 books of Nagash. It contains countless rituals to ensnare wrathful spirits, summon ghoulish creatures, and imbue such fell things with dread power. That's a really powerful technology. It'll only take 3 turns. We have enemies all close to us right now. All of Bretonnia would like to see us destroyed, but there's only one army that currently stands. That is, of course, over here, Alberic of Bordeleaux. Diplomatically, there's no one for me to really treaty with when it comes to trade, and I will not ally the vampire counts. The Barrow Legion, I will potentially ally. They have only one foe, that's Artois, right over here. When it comes to Pedavon, Lyonesse, Boston, Artois, they all want to see us killed, so we'll be sure to hit them first. And if you look at the strength rank, we're the weakest one here. We're not very powerful at all. Not that we need to be. Not right now. It's time to go fight Alberic. Selling right into our first battle. Ah, he agreed to fight us. Okay. Let's see it through. He's got 4 groups of Knights of the Realm. He's got 1 group of Knights Errant. 2 groups of Bowmen. Peasants. Okay, so his melee is really his weak point. He does have 1 group of Foot Squires. These are decent. They have armor piercing. And then he's got Spearmen at Arms. No, these will not do. We'll destroy him. Our very first battle with the Red Duke. On the left flank, our Blood Knights are charging in. In the center, we can see that I've got a Field Trebuchet aiming at their Knights. And on the right, in a copse of trees, we're moving in pole arms with our Black Knights. We're fighting early in the morning. We've got that pale blue hue. And now the Red Duke is challenging the Duke of Bordeleaux, Alberic. And so now they're about to fight. Alberic wields an iconic trident. The Red Duke has a unique ability called El Sif, and that debuffs an enemy lord or hero to where they're so weak, the Red Duke can easily win that battle. We've got a mixture of undead and living units. Our dead units, they will not break. Eventually, they could begin to fall apart. The magic that binds them could begin to fade, but they will not break like human units will. So because of that strength that we have, we'll be able to easily win a prolonged fight. My knights are keeping these, or not my knights, but these zombies here are keeping these knights busy, and my black knights are continuing to charge out with our group of polearms that are, again, an anti-large units. The duel with Alberic goes very well for the Red Duke. It's not like he's able to get very far with it. His men leave him, and now he's running away. What a shocker. Over on the left, we can see that these Blood Knights are now returning. It's time for them to strike at the Duke. Each one is scary. If you think the Red Duke is powerful, do not fight a group of the Blood Knights. So they're moving on their own until they finally meet Duke Alberic. The Duke is not long for this world. He will be the first of many to fall today. And he falls. For a brief overview of what the fight looks like, we won over on the right. We're now pushing forward. Many of our enemies are now breaking. They have Knights of the Realm in the center, but thankfully the Red Duke is here too. One tenet, one major theme that you'll notice with every battle that I fight in, I'll be using the invocation of Nehek, a healing spell from the Red Duke, all the time. I'll be using it after the battle is done too, whenever my foes are beginning to rout. That's how we can keep our undead units strong and together. It's a very dark battlefield. I like to think that the undead came forward maybe at like 5 a.m. They were like, hey, let's have a fight. All the knights here and peasants were groggy, not ready to deal with that. The Blood Knights have already killed so many. They will quickly become our most experienced group of warriors. Now they've broken. That little movement, that means they've broken and we've won the battle. So they're all fleeing. My job is to chase after what's left. The more that we cut down now, the less that we'll have to deal with later on. And so here's the first of many battles to come. I'm doing a mixture of cinematic camera work and also just a tactical overview. If there's a change in my tactics, I'll be sure to let you know, but you can always tell me what you prefer. But as we see it right now, the Red Duke is about to pillage a nearby hamlet. These poor men are dead. Despite having more knights, we were able to win that battle. That map wasn't to their favor. Potentially, if it was bigger, they would have had an easier time cycling their charges, but they couldn't. And with our healing magic for every undead unit that we have, we were able to keep them up. Now, we'll dominate those who are left. We'll gain 7% of our number back. Alberic was wounded. And what do we gain for that? He's meant to be the one good at island battles, but I'm not really convinced right now.
This better be important.
So here we are right now. We've gained a new rank. And now it's time to go after the remnants of his army. That is a very small army, so we can just destroy completely and move back home. Now we can gain a further 6% of our number back.
Follow me.
That was a great way to become more powerful. The biggest goal we have right now is to become more powerful than our peers. Rank 3 will put a point over here into the Restless Dead, giving me 10% more movement. A Lord of Necromancy's minions do not suffer exhaustion. They can walk for leagues and never suffer. Then we'll put a point into the Hunger. As we want him to be able to sustain in battle, we gained a trait for beating him, for beating Alberic. Plus 15 to melee attack when fighting at sea. Not bad. And to look at the Red Duke, we have Duke of Aquitaine. In his mortal life, the Red Duke was the Duke of Aquitaine. He was an avid crusader and mighty warrior. These days, he's better known as Scourge of Aquitaine. So we gain 20% more weapon strength for our men-at-arms, which is incredible. That means our men-at-arms will be much better than what they have on the field. That's only for his army. He's got one ability called El Sif, that's what the men of Araby called him. It debuffs an enemy lord or hero, and our peasant units are 30% cheaper. Considering that we'll be using peasant archers, that'll be handy for that too. No wonder we have a decent army. Yeah, that trait we gained from Outbreak was Hammer and Anvil. With all that extra money, I'll be able to upgrade some more stuff later. When it comes to rights, what would be the most important one to pick up? Rights of Willpower would be very good, or even Rights of Intrigue to make the Empire like me more. If we can get the Empire to treaty with me as I become a dominant power, that would be incredible. And finally, our first bloodline focus will be on Fallen Knight. Bretonnia Knights talk of being visited by the Lady of the Lake in their dreams, only this lady's clad in dark robes and offers a grell full of blood-red wine, explaining that she must prepare the knights for the blood they soon will be called upon to spill in her name. Most do not drink, most but not all. Then later we'll probably pick up the Blood Dragon route too. Now we get to end our turn. Now Red Duke, let's go back home. Using full speed, we were able to near Mousillon, but now we can land inside of Mousillon. It will take time to decide on who I would like to destroy. It depends on who shows weakness. We could go back to Bordeleaux, that is one good idea. If we spend a turn or two replenishing, then we could do that. The only downside is that whenever you conquer one location, it'll downgrade in tier. So a tier 2 location will turn into tier 1. It makes it rather, well, a paltry prize to gain after fighting for it so hard. Right now, we just need to replenish. I'll gather more dead as I see fit. Adelhard, you've got a pretty big army too. How is your garrison? You've got, let's see here, men-at-arms, 2 foot squires. Those could be brutal. I wonder what you have over here at Baston. And what about a new hero? If we recruit a normal white king, well, they're cheaper to recruit. Actually, it applies to my Black Grell Knights too. Good, okay. Well then, why don't I take someone who has cunning, giving them poison attacks by default to debuff their foes, and a higher chance to ambush our foes as well. I'll take it. At rank 4, we'll give you Blade Master. Training could be okay, though it's not a lot of experience, so I'm not very keen on picking that up until level 10. A Barded Skeletal Steed. Sure, you need that. And finally, hard to hit. We don't want our enemies hitting him. We want him to last in combat. We'll learn more about his backstory later on. Now we've got to end our turn. With that Black Grell Knight in our army, it's time to move to Bordeleaux. I think we'll take a few more coastal areas and potentially consolidate our power here. Baston will be another target to add to our list, but for now, let's go to Bordeleaux. If I fight them outside of their walls, I could then fight them at their walls afterwards. That's what we'll do for now. Here he comes. What are we fighting then? A paladin? Ah, 2 spellcasters. Alright. The same type of magic. Well, they only have 1 pool to draw from. At least I hope they do. And over here we've got Spearmen at Arms. Foot Squires. We should be able to win, though all the archers might score many kills on us. Let's find out. Our very first battle with our new Black Grell Knight. It's going to be a good one. My Black Knights are currently moving with him. Our Black Grell Knight will be in command of our horsemen. The Red Duke will command everything else. They're quickly advancing because we have only 1 target. She's attempting to use magic. Magic of nature, something that we want to corrupt and destroy. And so she goes flying. Maybe not the most honorable knightly tradition, but she's the one who came in front of a train of riding horsemen. It's a really beautiful battlefield too. We're on the fields. We're about to take a new home for our people. here comes a reinforcing army. They're being led by a paladin and another spellcaster, another prophetess. They've got their peasant bowmen. We're looking at more peasants, more men-at-arms too, and foot squires. The foot squires may make a difference. With their healing magic, they'll be able to use Earthblood extensively to keep their units afloat. For a more general overview, we can see where I'm at right now. We're moving right through the middle of these two tree groups on the left and right. My horsemen are on the right flank waiting. We damaged that prophetess, but again, she was hit by another charge from my Black Grail Knight, and she was able to recuperate a bit of the previous damage from using Earthblood, as she's doing right now. So the Black Grail Knight will try to wound her further. Eventually, he'll have to move back because we cannot allow him to fight alone, or he will be overwhelmed by foot squires and many other units alike. Here comes the Red Duke. He's all about getting that cardio in. Charging right through the fields. Now, I will let him fight alone for a little while. He's very good at it. And already he strikes down a lot of them. The Black Grail Knight fights here too. And from behind are my knights charging into a group of archers. My black knights are destroying them. And quickly. For the rest of my infantry, they're now gearing up to fight. Zombies are keeping more men-at-arms busy. The Red Duke is fighting. The Black Grail Knight is being assisted by my archers who are using Pox arrows to debuff them further. Over here on the left-hand side, on the left, I've got more of my humans fighting their own kindred, their own people. I mean, we are all Bretonians. Some of us have a pulse and a heart. Others do not. Here's my Grave Guard too. They're close by. And that trebuchet is so damaging and very accurate, I might add. There was some friendly fire upon my Blood Dragons, but with that invocation of Nehek, we'll bring them right back. It's like, whoops, sorry for killing you. By the way, you're back. And my Black Knights are just wreaking havoc all behind them, and all the while we're hitting that prophetess as well. So, the battle is happening at various points. It's not like just a singular line battle. It's taken a bit, but we're beginning to win. I've been sending out my Grave Guard right over here to where they're able to do some more general damage. On the right, they're finally breaking. The Red Duke has been able to help them out. And from behind, again, all his knights are fighting. So you've got a good idea of where everything is at and what they're doing. Their two leaders are currently fleeing. And now we have the freedom to just ride wherever we want to. We've got to feel bad for them, nearly. They've got a lot of ornate designs on their shields. There's a lot going on. There will always be more magic for Graveguard or whoever. They're using Earthblood on their foot squires that are currently fleeing. And now, we've got my Blood Dragons attacking another one of their leaders. She's about to break. And so now they've broken. We get to rout them all. There's not a lot left to rout. That's why my knights are going to be by far my most veteran units. I would say it was a fairly simple win. It's not like we were fighting some Grand Duke, a high-leveled Duke. Oh, a charge uphill. Doesn't matter if it's uphill or not. That was a very casual stroll right into them. Like, yeah, all right, I guess we'll kill you. Another resounding win. Now we're ranked 4. Because we're being so aggressive, I don't believe they have a chance at beating us early on. Later on, you know how it usually goes. Evil strikes first, later good rallies up. But we'll see. A Dragon Helm, that can counter our vulnerability to fire damage. Not bad. I'll give it to my Black Grail Knight. A dead Paladin, a dead Prophetess, and now we just need to take their town. Before we do that, though, more replenishment would be amazing. Or I could further improve my magic. I'll leave my magic alone. I think it's doing fine. It's healing up so many of my units, so it is doing fine. If we pick up anything over here, like Darkling Skies, I won't have to worry about attrition. And more cunning for ambushing is a good choice too. At rank 10, we can get Dune Rider. At rank 9, Armor of Blood. 16, a Blade. There's a lot for me to pick up. Then at rank 10, we can also choose Ordo Draconis, making Blood Knights even cheaper. It's a great boon for us here, so we're fairly mighty in combat, largely due to our debuff, El Sif. So instead, we'll take Undying Horde. That'll help out replenishment for everyone. And we can easily take this town. Loot and occupy. Sure, anger them a little bit. I need some money. But we've gained the Bordeleaux port. In the long term, that will profit us quite a bit. And there could be a rebellion. That's a good thing. We get everyone who doesn't really care for us in one location, then we kill them. We can put a point now into Aura of Supremacy, or we could focus on magic. I think magic is going to be really important for our army, though anything for the campaign map will also be quite beneficial too. So we'll take for now Darkling Skies. The sun is no ally of the dead. A sky scorched black or darkest night will invigorate the unliving. Usually I focus on combat, but I feel pretty confident in what we have. So now it's time to recuperate. Very good. Now we won't suffer nearly as much attrition. That's what I'm working for. It means we can be more offensive. We don't have to worry about having as much corruption. Rank 5. We'll put a point into hard to hit again. Very good. Now, if we were to move over here to Akatin, then we could have more land than before. I don't want to give the people of Bordeleaux a chance to recuperate. It's a minor army. We've already beaten their major armies. Now we can just take it over. If I subjugate him, I wouldn't have to worry about these lands. But I already own his capital, so we shall occupy now. Very good. Man's ruin. Kill them all. Their fate gods will recognize their own, if indeed they exist. +3 to leadership when fighting against men. And she's dead too. We also gained a black cat as well. Goodbye, Bordeleaux. Bordeleaux has been destroyed. That's one major faction. There's orcs nearby. Interesting. And they don't hate me. Massif Orkal. For technology, what would be beneficial right now is more leadership for my living units. We'll take the City of the Damned. +5 to leadership for all peasant units.
This night.
Now, Red Duke, you've gone up in power again. If I get 15% as a further reduction to attrition, I'll barely take any damage. It'll be incredible. So for now, our commandment, public order, more growth and corruption. More growth and corruption. I'll handle any rebellion that pops up, and it will pop up. We'll wait here because we're able to move fairly far when we need to. Leoness, I don't know if any of them will try to strike out, but let's have a look at that one orc faction. Here we go. Skull Smashers. Okay. Vampiric influence can easily be swayed by vampires during diplomacy. Now that is very good for me. You weren't kidding about that. You know what? Let's have a friendship. You and me. How much could you pay me, though? I would like to think it's a higher mind, taking advantage of a lesser one. Demand payment, 800. They took it. Now, if we need them to go fight other enemies, maybe they'll join me. Let's say Baston. Huh. Okay, maybe that won't work out. But now if we're attacked, they'll go out to fight. So you're fighting who? The Empire and Bretonnia. Not bad at all. If you weaken the King of Bretonnia, or Kron, the Duke and King, he's a Duke as well, but he's also a King. Duke of Kron, King of Bretonnia. Now we get to rest up and find out who might come visit us very soon. We've already won many major battles. While we were beginning to replenish our numbers, Bohemond Beastslayer came out to fight. I suppose he heard word of our efforts here and is trying to save his brethren. Or he just wants a good fight, which is more likely. So, Bohemond, you've got the Beastslayers of Baston, a mighty Footsquire group. I don't want to charge into them. You've got questing and Grell Knights already? Oh, we might be in trouble. Okay, let's try. Let's find out what we can do. The Red Duke now gets to fight in his own territory. Here we can see the Lace Tower. That is a famous, significant landmark here. The Lace Tower is a tall spire built with so many windows that it looks as though it is made from stone lace. Bohemond Beastslayer is charging into our town, and we are launching cows at them. It's the only proper response I can think of. So while they charge in, their men will be dying to cow. That's right, meat kills, I suppose. At least the way that I use it, it kills. Here's questing knights. He's got Grell Knights too. I mean, he's got what you need for a proper good win on a field of battle. If we were fighting in a field, it would be a huge challenge, but because we're fighting in my town of Akatin, we've got a great chance to win. His units are all grouped up, and they're having to move in. So let's have a look at what I've been doing, outside of planning on destroying that statue of the lady. I've got archers right over here. My field trebuchet will move up to where they'll be able to strike out at those who are remaining outside, and over to the right, we can see that they're moving in mounted units. Mounted yeomen is what they have a lot of. Knights of the Realm, all of those fun things too. But I get to move in my blood dragons, or my blood knights, and my black knights from behind. My zombies are lying in wait, so they're going to be easy to tar pit down into one location, to bind them down in one area while we charge in from behind. And you can see the main portion of my army is just waiting in reserve. We don't have to really do too much. I'm using what is here of the garrison to fight with the Red Duke. The Red Duke is about to lead them straight into combat, though they haven't gotten very far so far. Archers are still hitting them. Cows are still mooing at them. There is no cow level, but that's really close enough. How did your son die, ma'am? He was hit by a cow. It was utterly ridiculous. I don't know how long I'm going to keep milking that joke. But now they're charging. So let's look at who's left. The Grell Knights are moving in. They don't have to go straight into that bog where everyone else is fighting. Oh, that was a tremendous blow. Those cows are flying so quickly. I don't know if the Lace Tower is meant to be used like that. I think we're using it the right way. I truly do. With our limited numbers, we can face off against so many more of them. We've got artillery, we've got archers, everything that we need to nail them down. Over on the right, my knights are still fighting. Their job is to travel around with our Black Grell Knight. Again, he commands my horsemen. These mounted yeomen are done for. It's a beautiful town. It's a really wonderful location, and now it belongs to the Red Duke once more. Our goal is to find out the heirs of those who betrayed him before. A few of them are now moving to this left street, dodging more of our artillery, our cavalry. That promises a battle with our Blood Knights. The Lace Tower just has like a 360 view of everything. It's going to be hitting everything. Where there's undead were, we took out those mounted yeomen. Now everyone is moving to chase after those who are fleeing. There's some mounted yeomen who are returning. We have more knights who are coming in. These are the ones that we need to watch out for. It's nearly perfect. So they'll be here for a bit, and we can go back to the main street, where a lot of these yeomen are like, you know what? I'm going to leave now. Not even the Grail Knights can really change things up. They can't get through. The Red Duke is here, using that invocation of Nehek to heal all the time. Oh, and there is Duke Bohemond. He's currently fighting the Red Duke. Duke Bohemond Beast Slayer is a very powerful man. He's not weak. Not by any means is he weak. So we can watch their duel play out. The Red Duke is going to become the most veteran Duke in the land. Now Duke Bohemond is retreating. Man, we are tanning their hides now. More of these knights are moving around. They'll be helping out the Mounted Yeomen close by, but the Blood Knights alone, they're going to be fine. Let's have a look. I hardly had to use my reserves at all. There's just a trail of dead, and because we're already dead, it's not really a huge deal if we have a bunch of bodies in our town. I really had no idea that map, that Arctine map, would provide any type of benefit like that. Choke points and a grand tower to use that launched cows at my foes. It doesn't really get better than that. So we were able to win with minimal losses. If that was a field battle, it would not have gone in my favor. But because they were forced to fight in a more urban setting, he didn't win, and I did. The Terrors of the Dark Straits. Ah, more pirates again. Oh, look at that. There's a Skull Reef up north, too. The Vanaheimlings, huh? They've confederated. And we've gained a potion of full hardiness for charging. Duke Slayer. Plus 15 bonus versus large when fighting against Empire and Bretonnia. Our reinforcement range has gone up by 20%. We're about to have a rebellion, but before we deal with that, we can handle Bohemond. And after I begin to chase down every single unit they have whenever they all break, I use his magic to heal up many of my undead units. It's why we're able to really sustain. You could see my overall theme in how I'm building my strategy. It's all based around sustainability. So we'll take one more. There we are. Corruption will also shoot up so quickly, and that will help as well. So now we're about to deal with a rebellion. We'll put one more point into hard to hit. Eventually, they'll all have more than one army, and the challenge will increase, but because I was able to rush at them so quickly, they're in trouble. Look at all of that corruption back over in Lyonesse. I've got the money to upgrade my building, but I would like to save more of it. It wouldn't hurt to upgrade to a mausoleum. I would be able to get crypt quarters. We also have the Fortress of Medevech. It's a fantastic building. It's why they don't want to come towards me. It provides a lot of graveguard in my garrison, and early on, that can keep me alive. Later on, I might get a right. I'm not sure which one yet, but we shall see. Let's have a rebellion. It'll be a good time. It was about time to have a rebellion anyway. The insolent fools of this province have risen up against us. They must be swiftly and brutally crushed. Right by me, rising up right by the Red Duke, is a really bad plan for any rebel. Oh, all mounted yeomen. I like to think she had a group of them who were convinced they could be the saviors of Bordeleaux. It did not work out like that for her. On rank 8 already. We're really powerful. Okay, if I come over here, casualty replenishment rate plus 30% for lords. He would be able to heal even faster after a battle. But instead of going further down that route, let's pick up a bit of magic. We're not going to give him a mount yet. He's very good at dueling. And when you're knocked down, you can't take damage. Whereas on a mount, you can't be knocked down, so you'll always be taking damage. Swamp Dwellers, I can make my infantry more powerful. Again, my magic is fine. We'll work on commanding now. Bordeleaux. You had a bunch of dissidents who are now dead, though we still do need more vampire corruption. To conquer lands nearby will take time here. We'll have to watch and grow, and really corrupt what we take. The Lamian Book of the Dead. How many do I have right now? 2. I have 2 right now. So why don't I work on getting the 3rd one? Then I can awaken one of the bloodlines. And we can wait over here in Bordeleaux. Or we could wait outside and have another rebellion. Ah, how about that? I could try to ambush anyone who comes nearby. And I think that is a pretty good idea. Oh, wait. Here's Cassien. Hello, Cassien. Welcome.
You dishonor me.
Now, he begins with a flying Pegasus mount. Look at what he has. All of the elite units are coming to bear against me. That's a lot of mounted yeomen. Hopefully, he'll attack me at Akatin. It's actually amusing that we're doing so well at Akatin because the Red Duke was the Duke of Akatin. Let's have fun. Duke Cassien of Perevon? He's moving in now. I've never seen so many mounted yeomen. Why would you want that many, Duke? He's a madman, and I thought I was evil. These poor people are about to die. It's going to be awful. Oh, by the way, our trebuchet, it's crewed by a group of elite soldiers, elite peasantry. I say soldiers because I've made them use those stones over and over until they became pinpoint, to where they could shoot off the nuts from a squirrel. And so Cassien charges in now. Another dramatic hit. Those Pegasus Knights are quite deadly. Let's have a look at what the battle's like. I'm fighting largely in the woods. They have so many mounted yeomen. Mounted yeomen are not a dire threat. Now, if these were all Knights of the Realm, sure, I would be done for. There would be no chance. But we're fighting them in the woods. We're fighting them all together. And I've got Black Knights and Blood Knights who can be healed. So even though they have more, mine will last longer. Theirs will not. And I've changed up my speed of my camera a little bit. My settings were lost, so I've been trying to find that sweet spot again. But I think I probably have found it. And you just saw the Duke Cassien fall after being hit again by my field trebuchet. I wasn't joking. That man is now done for. We took him out in the beginning stages of the battle. Imagine, you're some heroic chivalric knight. And you're thinking that, hey, the lady's on my side, we're going to win. And then you're hit by giant stones. I don't care how holy you are. Giant stone beats holiness. It's just how it works. Unless the lady just pops up and says, hey, you know what? You're not going to die here. You can see where it's a very busy battle, but they're wavering. They're not going to break completely. They're not going to shatter, but they are broken. And here's a difficulty that I've dealt with whenever I would play Bretonnia. You would always have like 1 or 2 Pegasus Knights who would get caught. You wouldn't be able to get away from your foes. You have to hit units where you can easily get away, or you won't be able to cycle your charges very well. They're targeting our Black Girl Knight, but a lot of them are already getting the hell out of here. Blood Knights have done it. There's Black Knights fighting on the right. And from above, there are more Pegasi who are just trying to get home. Cassien led them into an awful fray. They don't have a choice but to leave. There's no more in the trees. So now we just spend our time chasing down those who remain. A lot of them are rallying back, though, and coming back into the fight. I thought I heard some behind me, but I did not. See, now they're back. Now they're wanting to fight again. If they didn't lose Cassien so early on, then sure, maybe they would have had a good shot at staying in the battle to where I would have lost a lot more. But they didn't. So they had no chance at all. That trebuchet, I allow it to focus solely on their flying units. The pox arrows, too. Always with the pox, you know. Now you get to die to my even sicker peasants. If you think your peasants are bad, mine are much worse. Mine have the pox on purpose, and... Oh, I thought you were about to, like, kick his severed head. That would have been great. No, my guys are pretty ugly. I don't know if you've, like, seen their faces at all, but they are hideous. They are not a good-looking people. Yeah. And so the Red Duke has won again. Time to chase more of them down. That was a close victory. Now we can gain 2% of our number back. So, really, their biggest weakness was not having more than mounted yeomen. Pegasus Knights were very mighty. You could see where they were able to get in a lot of kills. Imagine if they had a real army. Then they would have done so much more. But no, you only had mounted yeomen. They're not going to beat me. Not in the woods. Not like that. My Blood Knights are much stronger. We're already at rank 8 for our Blood Knights. They're going to beat the crap out of anything they throw at me for a while yet. Okay, we'll put a point into Heroic Killing Blow. Now we can finish off Cassillon. Oh, it's going to be a bit different. I see, because we didn't actually destroy most of his army. If I don't destroy it now, though... Shoot, hold on. We'll have to pull back briefly in order to raise up some undead minions. Got the money for it, or the magic for it. Ah, there we go. A Blood Kiss. Now we can get 10% more to our tax rate. How about that? That's some extra dark magic for me.
My bloodline calls.
Now we can go back in. Oh, it's much easier. I will fight it out because really it'll be too easy if I auto-resolve it. So we'll fight it out. You send in your best veterans and they end up dying. I'm having to fend off every major duke nearby. We've yet to fight the king. The king will be a challenge, I'm sure of it. That's why I've pressed so hard early on, because I wanted to ensure that we didn't have to fight them as a united power. If I can divide them early, then I can separate them and partition those who don't really want to be with their friends when they fall. Mounted yeomen are pulling back. The Pegasi are being pelted with a lot of my arrows, and now that field trebuchet is striking at, what is it? More men-at-arms? At least we easily know where the Pox arrows are striking at. No, I was very nervous about fighting Cassillon, but being able to hit him with my field trebuchet changed up everything. So we have units on the left. In the middle, we're just fighting the men-at-arms and a few of their Pegasi. And on the right, we're bringing in some more infantry, with my knights also moving in from the right, led by the Black Rail Knight. Now, mounted yeomen are very good at taking down archers, lightly armored units, but they're not meant for traditional battles like this here. So having that many is an awful call. It's a waste. I would use them myself if I fought an enemy that had a lot of archers. Sure. They can skirmish a bit, they can entangle, they can pull out quickly. But you're fighting a fairly densely packed group of warriors with a lot of anti-large units and some of the most powerful knights in the game. Blood dragons. Men are just going flying. Like that guy. We'll call him Jacques. Jacques just went flying. Jacques isn't coming back. Jacques is going to miss dinner, all right? His 86 kids are going to miss him. And now they've all broken. The battle's over. The poor Pegasi. They're done too. There wasn't too much to show you. I mean, what you saw is what you saw. That is really all that there was to this fight. They charged in. I used my left and right flanks to surround them. They were hit. Now, the Blood Knights are attacking. They're going to be chasing down so many. That's why there's such a veteran group now. After that win, again, we can dominate. We'll continue to do that over and over, no matter how little it is, because whatever I don't have to wait for, I can just keep on fighting. We've gained a treasurer, providing more income, 8% more income from vampire crypts and keeps, which I will not be getting for a very long time. And we have another black cat.
My bloodline calls.
Rank 9, we can get our Armor of Blood. There are beings and creatures that can mend bone and knit flesh at an incredible rate. A mighty boon, but one stunted by fire. Plus 5 to armor. Plus 15% of physical resistance. We get more leadership for our Blood Knights. And we gain regeneration, in addition to having a wound recovery time of -2. So, if we're ever wounded, we'll come back pretty fast. That's a great item to have. The orcs are still just kind of haunting where they're haunting. We can go to Brillon. I would rather go to Baston. We're still trying to maintain control of Aquitaine, so I'm not too keen on leaving. We've gained 2 other locations, which I view as a pretty fast expansion early on. I'm very pleased with how far we've come so far. Let's have a look over here right now. Leonessa, I know that you're very unhappy. I'm kidding. They're just fine. They're neutral. They've got a heart filled with neutrality. And our corruption continues to grow over in Bordeleaux and Aquitaine. Now we just need to wait and see who else is coming by. Usually, if you're the only one fending off everyone, it might take some time before you can go back on the offensive again, but I don't want to go too far from where I'm at now. Look, if I were to move down here to Brion, it will take me at least one extra turn to get up to the north to reach enemies in the middle. But right now, I can go to Mousillon, I can go to Bordeleaux, so Baston would probably be the best bet for me. But Yvonne, I hope that the Wood Elves fight you one day, because I've crushed you completely. And again, we're rank 9. Adalhard is rank 3. I did pick up a modification that will give a boost to enemy lords. I want them to keep up with me, because usually you out-level them so much, they stand no chance. But now, they're going to be a lot tougher for me to deal with. That's why, in the long term, in the late game, things are going to be tragically hard. And I'm going to love that. Look here at who would like a peace treaty. Another faction. Pedavon gave up. They gave up pretty fast. I mean, they were like, hey, look, we're done now. That's another enemy I don't have to worry about. The Vargs are now fighting Bretonnia, and the Wood Elves are indeed attacking Pedavon as well. Coming after me was a really bad call. Okay, you want me to raid Karak Bak or Artois? We're only in the very beginning of the game, but we own a decent chunk of Bretonnia. We are not done yet. Thankfully, I know how to play the Red Duke. I've been a Red Duke for a while, so it's part of my forte. It's part of my skill set. We can reach it outright. If I take it now,
What do you want?
Bohemond is still weakened. Very true.
Destruction.
Let's see about taking Baston.
Raid.
Now that is a decent amount to lose. So let us take Baston. Then, well, we'll have one less enemy to really worry about. Maybe other factions will want a peace treaty too. You have, let's see, Armand, the Saracen. And I've got Blood Knights and more. Let's give it a go. All of my undead are going to charge right up the walls. My knights are going to move right through the middle. My invocation of Nehek will keep them sustained. And our leader, the Red Duke, is also climbing up. That's a lot of undead. Well, peasants too, but they hardly count as living. Their defenses are alright. Will they be able to beat me? Probably not. It's not very likely. I'm sure they feel like they can. They've got the walls for it. But they didn't really have the manpower to really defend every portion of the wall, right? They didn't have that. So now we're engaging them at various points, and my knights are able to charge right through the middle, sending a lot of these peasants flying, these men-at-arms. Men who had a slightly better shot at life, a better life. And it's really okay if I allow them to fight, because again, I have healing magic. A Black Girl Knight will come in later to assist their advance inside. Their job is to keep them busy while we fight on the walls. Even my zombies can keep a group of archers busy. Sure, there's a lot of, destroyed undead, but they can't stop us right now. The Red Duke is on the way, and Graveguard will be popping in too to help out. They're going to have an easy win. So now we just fight here for a period of time. These foot squires and other men-at-arms don't really know what they want to do. Once we break through, we can circle around behind them and hit them from behind with our horsemen. They do have a leader, a lord, a paladin, some manner of heroic fellow. Right, that's my trebuchet. That's why his shield is up. He doesn't want to be hit by the giant stone. I'm sure that's going to help out. He must have like a really strong arm to be able to resist a chunk from my trebuchet. There's a Black Grail Knight now, fighting alongside all of our knights. It'll be fun to go over his story at a later point. Now, all of my minions who climbed on the wall are clambering inside. We'll get them into formation. Some will go help out at the gate. Others will stay over here and wait. I like how they all kind of jog in tandem. They're like, yeah, you know what? We're a team. We do everything together. Especially number 2, all on their porch. On every other Bretonian porch, it's their time to shine. Like a nice old cow patty. That's how you get the nobles really mad. I like to think that the Red Duke is leading some anarchist movement, saying that we're toppling down the system of Bretonnia. They're just going to end up under some more autocratic rule. Not much will change for them, but we can tell them that. We can tell them that, hey, there's going to be change coming. Times are a-changing for you. Who else would be able to take down Bretonnia from the inside than a Duke of Bretonnia, a former Duke of Bretonnia? There's some mounted yeomen. There they are. My Grave Guard end up getting hit pretty hard, for sure. They get hit really, really hard. In fact, that Lord is here. Not even my magic can bring them back to the full allotment of their numbers, so we'll have to go help them out. And to kind of zoom out again, my knights are winning. Most of their infantry down here, foot squires, men-at-arms, whatever they have, they're losing. They can't beat all that I have. Not with all of my magic. The Red Duke is like, hey, I've got a bit of a job for you. And they're like, what? Well, you see, I'm going to need you to carry some dead bodies. But I'm not going to pay you. In fact, you're going to be dead too, so I don't know why we're even chatting. Like I said before, my knights are now moving in behind the town square. Now, we get to finish up the battle. We're ready for it. It's about time. The last of their defenders are holding out. Sure, foot squires can do a lot to take on my men-at-arms. That's what they're meant to do. That's what they're good for. There's a huge difference in skill and facial hair. You know they're good because they have fancy mustaches. You don't pull that off unless you got that BDE. But now the Black Knights are striking. They're going over there on the right. The Blood Knights should be... Yeah, there they are. I was wondering where they were at. I think we won. Made pancakes out of the foot squires. And it's all over now. That was a good win. We lost over 500. My knights were able to break through their own foot soldiers. And we hit every portion of their wall. Because we could. Now we're rank 10. And we can occupy a new location. The Bastardiers of Chalon. Famous group of bandits from the forest of Chalon with poisonous halberds in hand. They are a deadly and scary force to be reckoned with. Oh, I like that. And a new spirit that will provide +1 to public order. In addition to armor that will debuff enemy melee attack by -5. In addition to increasing armor and melee defense by 3. Another Black Cat, a Gravedigger. We gained a lot of followers. I'll give that armor to my Black Grail Knight. I don't have a weapon for you, but I do have glittering scales. I mean, it would be better for you to have the armor of fortune if you want to survive, but I would rather you debuff my foes for the time being. Here's a Gravedigger. It'll make it cheaper for me to raise up the dead. Now, we are rank 10. I would rather save my 1 point. I only have so many points, correct? That means I would rather save it for my zombie dragon at rank 18. Maybe later I'll get a hell steed, but for right now, I don't mind him fighting on foot. We are rank 10, so we can pick up a few different things here. We can get either Doom Rider, or we could go for Ordo Draconis. Having cheaper Blood Knights right now would be good too. But Doom Rider would give me what then? Okay, Black Knights would be cheaper. Grave Sentinel. So everything I get here will increase how many elite knights and Grave Guard that I'm able to pick up. Let's take, I think for right now, Grave Sentinels. They'll be 40% cheaper. They'll cost half the cost they would originally cost anyway. So half off. And it'll take 1 less turn to recruit them. That's incredible. That is very powerful. And rank 8 for our dear Black Grail Knight. So for him, we'll give him Deadly Blade. And we'll call it here.
Yes.
I want to thank all of you for watching. Leave a like down below, and look forward to even more tomorrow. If you have any comments for me, again, comment down below and I'll be sure to read them. My mod collection is linked down below. I'm using Closer to Tabletop Overhaul and many other modifications too. So until then, enjoy the series.